Good morning, everybody. We'll get this meeting started. Roll call vote. I am here. Ms. Allen is absent. Mr. Palin? Here. Mr. Horstman? Here. Mr. Strogstad? Here. Ms. Naylor?
Present.
Approval of the minutes, they'll stand as read unless anybody sees any corrections or changes. Visitors, we have the zoning office in the back. You guys have something that you want to go over now or just?
And emailed them to everybody. But
Perfect. Thank you, Dee and Alice, and guys, read up on it and make your decisions. We'll move on to John or Dave. You got anything here? Okay. Moving on, we'll start with the IT department. Paul is here. There you go. Two are over, so those are just the big ones. Jack. Yep, go ahead.
okay, Advantage LLC for $2,631. I do too.
Nope, she already did. The only ones you have to sign everything, please.
CW Government Inc. for $10,357.38.
Total for this is $26,069.85.
Paul, do you want to give a report?
Thank you. Those two large items, the claims are for the board's items. Most of the other items were pretty much standard phone bills. Tracking program factors. Flashing, let's see. Hello? Oh, that's much better. Okay, so yeah, two items on there for your board's tablets going forward with your board meeting software and deploying new software for Stacy Stewart's office to track people in the probation system. And we added an item under new business, which you won't have anything to approve because we didn't put an infrastructure for service package together for you, but just in advance, if you're seeing that in the future meeting, we're looking at kind of bundling the hardware and the managed service agreements we expected to put into place in 2022 is kind of a larger agreement where be a lower cost on hardware up front because the hardware and the service would be bundled as a package agreement, multi-year support agreement going forward with a vendor. And I would expect that you would see that at your next meeting. And if you have any questions for me, let me know. I want to thank Zachary Owen, Jonathan Henriksen, and Mike McBride of the ETSB for helping the IT department achieve. We have over 1,000 support tickets since we started program in the beginning of March. And so we're catching up on the tickets, but we have about 60, a list of 60 hard projects that we have to get to. A lot of them are related to infrastructure upgrades that we already planned for in 2022. So we have plenty on our plate, and we're looking forward to getting done with that work with our staff here and partnering with vendors outside to move all those projects along, including the audio visual for this. Any questions?
This infrastructure would be a huge thing on your plate, is it not? I mean, to
Yeah, huge isn't, I mean, if they had a bigger word, longer than huge, I could use for huge, I would.
Right.
Yeah,
This-
it involves upgrading the software and the hardware for all of our, as many of the servers as we can that aren't brand new, and providing on-site backup, additional on-site backup capabilities, and then off-site backup strategies for that software. And rather than paying a huge lump sum up front, we're looking at the cost of kind of, it's not quite leasing, it's what they call infrastructure as a service, where you get the hardware and the contracted service for essentially the price of a well-paid employee. And then you have access to all of their employees for support and service, and they'll be doing a lot of the logging and the like that we need just to stay current and maintain a 20th century, maybe 21st century network here. Yes, it's really big, and I've had chats with county administrator, and Bob Olson, and they seem supportive of it. And I have to say, you've all been very supportive of all the initiatives I've tried to bring forward to you. So thank you very much. So.
Any additional questions?
One quick one. Obviously, you have a huge workload. Have you been able to gauge the level of patience with the department heads and you addressing the work tickets? I mean, are people pretty happy, or are they starting to get impatient?
Well, on the terms of the tickets, and I had to have anybody kind of pony up and say in public or in private, and like initially with Nancy's area, was trying to catch up on some work, and there was a project she wanted completed, and since I was working on some other stuff, they had to assign their project manager to something else, but we eventually got that done. And she has a service that's been moved into the cloud. It's more reliable, and I can retire the server it's on. And from my understanding, that upgrade's been successful for you, Nancy, correct? Okay, so, and then there's other things that we're trying to get to, like Stacy Stewart's project was kind of getting close to not getting the hardware in place in time, but Cindy was able to help us out on that. So we're doing the deployment on that right now. So we're trying to keep up on the tickets, and as those number of tickets go down per day, then we're focusing on the longer term projects. So the last person that would have been really unhappy with me probably would have been Stacy, but since we're deploying it essentially on the schedule that I promised her a couple months ago, and if it goes off this weekend, I don't know anybody else who's trying to, my ears aren't burning. I can't think of anybody really speaking too badly about me right now. But if somebody hears, let me know, because I'm really, IT is essentially about customer service, and if I'm not doing the customer service, I really want to hear about it. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, you mentioned tickets. You work under a work order ticket system then, where
Right.
they send in a ticket and you.
and
so-
everybody's been really good on using it too. So.
Okay, I mean, I've worked under that system before and I understand. But yeah, so I guess that's what I'm just at. If you're doing it now and we can.
But we started it at the end of February, beginning of March, just about a few weeks after I started here. And again, we're at about 1,004 right now tickets. They've trailed off to being a few a day now, but some of them kind of evolve into projects, larger items. So
Are these tickets traceable by
requester,
Department
by
or-
department, by the nature of the ticket, whether it's for phones or the like. And initially, most of the tickets were for phones and really slow computers. Well, as the phone system got deployed and people more familiar with that started to drop off. And we've been actively replacing the older Windows 7 and really old Windows 10 computers with newer ones. So those number of tickets are going down, but I still have a stack of 20 or so computers to be deploying. And this weekend, when Zach and I were in applying security updates to servers, I encountered a few really slow workstations in the circuit clerk's office. And so Jonathan will be working to upgrade some of those. But then the circuit clerk and some other of the offices in Newport have some money coming through, hopefully through a kind of a pass-through grant program coming from the court system. So we're going to be waiting for some of the upgrades until we know how much money that is. But I do have some that I'm putting in place for things that are really, really just, some of them take 15, 20 minutes just to start up and to shut down, and then they reboot them twice a day. I mean, they're 90 minutes out of the day. Some people are waiting to get work done. So I've been trying to address that, even if it hasn't been submitted as a ticket. So
This is the same system that they're looking to for maintenance, something ticketing wise. So that's where we put
exactly.
place. with-
And we, that one's really close to being in place. It's just that Greg was out for a little while and I was working on some other projects. Greg and I have talked about it. We should be up in place and he should be able to give you a report for next month's meeting. So,
So with the board changeover with the claims process, it will eventually hopefully get in place into 2022, but at
Yep.
some point that's, we're headed in the right direction. Good. Moving on to the clerk and recorder, we've got two different ones.
Liberty Systems for $20,447.
What's the total, Jack?
Total will be, as soon as I read it, $24,300.03.
We also have one for 009 line item for $100.26. Nancy,
Good morning.
you want to give your election update now?
Up to you.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to give you just a few things before I get into the election equipment. I just want to say that my office is very excited to go forward with the new claims procedures and the claims committee. That's going to help my office out tremendously. So we're really looking forward to rolling into that in the new year. We have wonderful news. Today, the new election equipment is coming into the building. Hopefully here within the next hour, they're going to be bringing in new equipment. So we're very excited for that. We also, Thursday or Wednesday of last week, got notification that everything that I've been telling you guys about the legislative procedures and the lawsuits, they just came out with a notification that there's 4 districts that are affected by that, and we are not one of them. So that's wonderful news. So the election department and my girls are going full force with everything they need to do with finishing up the mapping and everything with that. There will be a resolution coming through. You'll see with executive and county board. And also just a little FYI, it is presently about 4 weeks from today, we're going to be pulling petitions. So that date is January 13th. And that's all I have right now. Questions?
Thank you, Nancy. Moving on to GIS, we've got 2 claims.
$7,943.67
For
for optometry.
perfect. For a total of
Total of $7,957.64.
moving on to the assessment office. We have nothing over 2,500 for a total of
$5,104.25.
Yep. Moving on to the board, county board, we have one that's over $2,500.
County board boardroom software subscription, $10,548.
Jack, what's my total?
Your total is gonna be $11,459.97.
Like to give an update on anything?
Just a quick update on the assessment office. Jennifer called me this morning and this is their last and final week for board review assessment appeals. And so it's quite busy down there. And in addition to that, she had someone call off sick and she had someone scheduled to be off. So it's her and one other employee for today. That's why she's not here. But she did ask me to just give you that heads up. On the board, the county board side, you've already heard it alluded to a couple different times. Be looking for, in fact, you may have on your desk a copy of the Claims Committee resolution. This is the resolution that creates the Claims Committee. It will allow the Claims Committee, or I should say you, the board, will delegate your authority to the Claims Committee for the payment of those claims. And it also authorizes the Claims Committee to work with myself and the treasurer's office to establish policies and procedures. There will be a second resolution naming the Claims Committee. We're still wrapping up identifying members of the Claims Committee, so we'll be back in touch on that. But those will be moving through the full county board this month. Also along those lines, you are going to see, I know you just approved the schedule of meetings for next month, but we're going to have you approve a revised schedule of meetings, which will now include those twice monthly meetings of the Claims Committee. And you're also going to see a schedule of finance budget meetings. The reason we're doing this much earlier than normal is that if we can do this and publish it as part of our regular meetings at the beginning of the year, then Becky doesn't need to worry about getting those to the newspaper on an individual basis each time, because that costs money, plus there's time and energy involved in doing it. So we're trying to plan in advance what those dates will be, get them on the schedule. And that's why you're going to see the revised schedule coming forward. And that's what's changed from last month. We knew last month we were probably going to come along and do a revision, but we weren't prepared last month to give you these dates. And we hadn't really refined the whole Claims Committee process yet. So I think that might be all from the county board perspective. As you heard Paul say, he does have the iPads ordered. They may even be here, although since he didn't mention it, perhaps not. They were supposed to be here late last week, so I'm hoping they'll be here shortly. We are looking to launch that in January. We're going to start at small groups like this, so you'll all have your iPads in front of you and we will practice in the small groups. We're hoping, like I said, to have everything together. Becky and I have already done, and Nancy have done some training on the software, the administrative side of the software. So we're getting everything loaded, such as all of your contact information and all of your committees that you serve on. We're busy doing that right now. And with any amount of luck, we're going to have the iPads. They're going to be ready to be rolled out, and the software will be ready to roll out in January. Also planning on rolling out this new claims process in January. So January is going to be a fun month of change. So excited, not excitable, but excited, just to be clear.
I do see one change in the Claims Committee. It says consisting of 3 board members. That's going to have to be 5 for what we talked about. Or what do you think?
Well, this might be a question for Charlie, but what we thought we were doing with this, and there is a provision in that resolution that says that we are modifying or amending the board rules per this resolution. So this will be an appendix or addendum to the board rules. By the way, Charlie asked me a few weeks ago, and he was probably on target. He said, why don't you just change the board rules to add the Claims Committee? I was trying to avoid that right now because in a few short months, we are going to be again changing the board rules. And remember, you just adopted new ones in November. But we've got to do new board rules going forward in the next year because we're going from 24 members down to 20. So I was trying to find a shortcut temporarily for a few months. And then when we do the board rule revisions in the next few months, then of course the Claims Committee will be a part of that. So Chris, what I was thinking based on the language I put in there is that this would be, as an addendum to the board rules, would solidify the Claims Committee is 3 members with 2 alternates in case one of those members can't be there. That's what we were thinking.
Perfect.
I'm not sure if I accomplished it by my language. I did ship that out to Charlie. He's nodding his head. So
Perfect. And I think the claims committee could probably be three. I just know our rules, board rules said 5 to 7. So as long as Charlie's okay with it, then works for me. Just
Right.
wanted to point it out.
And keeping in mind, the claims committee is going to be meeting twice a month, so that's why we're trying to keep it small but effective. That's why we got the 2 alternates also, because that can be a big commitment on the regular members to meet twice a month, along with whatever other commitments they have through the board here. So I think that's all, unless you all have any questions.
One question on the software, is that particular software tailored to serving bodies of the county board? How specific is it?
It is absolutely tailored for board structures. Now, it could be school boards, it could be county boards, it could be not-for-profit boards, but it's definitely structured for boards and the governing that they need to do. So super excited for you guys to start seeing it.
Paper.
FYI, sometime between now and January, as we're setting this up, you'll be receiving to your email, whatever email you have registered with Becky, an invitation to join. And that's where you'll go in and you'll set up your own password. And that's when you'll get to go in and start clunking around and seeing what it looks like.
Pretty exciting. We won't have all this paper in front of us. Moving forward to tourism.
2 items. The County Tourism Council, $9,477.93. Also for City of Dixon, $9,477.93.
$18,955.86.
And last but not least, VA. There are none above 2,500.
For a total of the county transfer fund mileage, $1,285, oh, just $1,984.
Perfect. Motion to pay the claims. Mr. Palin, Mr. Horstman, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Fantastic.
Chris, just a real quick update. Paula stopped by. She's working on getting payroll out this morning. This is the beginning of the year, fiscal year, so there's a lot of additional work. So she said she had nothing significant to report, but that's why she's not here.
Yep. Moving forward, COVID, we had 4 employees for a total of 10 days off. We are starting to see a spike, as everybody knows. Watch the news. Actually, I had to test 2 of my kids because of in school. So we're still doing really good. 4 people with 10. I think we keep the policy where it's at, and I think it's the right thing to do for the employees. So election update, we already got that. Resolution for compensation for elected officials and county board members. So I let Nancy take the lead on this, and hopefully she's got some information for us. We can go from there.
Everybody got the copy of the last resolution, correct?
Correct.
And it's my understanding that's from 2018, so 4 years ago.
That's correct, 2018. Hey, Miss Nancy, please grab your mic a little closer. We're having trouble hearing you. Thank you.
Okay. So as we have election coming up for new elected officials, it's our duty to set the amount 180 days prior to when they take office, which is December 5th. So it's around the end of May, we would have to have this completed. I also have some information from the Ogle County. I don't know if any of you read that or not, but the Ogle County has set theirs. So there's information just as a comparative for the Ogle County, not only elected officers, but board members. I had additional information that I read that most of the Illinois counties are giving anywhere from a 1.75 to 2.5 increase in their elected officials. Lee County was not listed in that.
Is that county
information.
board and all the,
All the elected and the county board.
okay,
Mhm, correct. And so the elected officials are on your resolution, and those are the ones we currently have, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Same one?
Same ones.
Same ones. Okay.
so
So where are you going with this?
which one do we want to tackle first? Do we want to tackle elected county board members, or do we want to tackle elected official salaries, i.e. the treasurer, clerk, circuit clerk, and county sheriff? You want to start with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. Did you guys get the email from UCCI?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to pull it up right now too.
Started to print it, but it's 168 pages long.
Yes, it was.
So this is where board book is gonna come in. Fantastic.
I have a bigger page.
That's okay. I don't have, what,
There's one page on it, Chris, that has it.
yep. What pages? There it is.
I have two, there was two attachments, so I'm not for sure. I'm looking
There's
at-
a summary page, if you look in the first attachment.
Yep.
there's the executive.
This is the executive. What are we,
That's been-
okay, elected official, okay.
Did you
They
read them
have
off?
they have a 25 percentile, a median, and a 75 percentile.
Would you read them off for me?
Okay, like for instance, state's attorney, the median is $173,745. That's the median.
Well, let's focus on the treasurer right now.
Okay,
Their categories.
Or whichever one you've got up.
I don't
See if
think,
they're an elected somewhere.
I think it's on the other.
The
other
other
one.
Yeah, I got it right here.
That's the bigger document.
Yeah.
This is the 186 pager.
I've got the sheriff right here. So the sheriff would be the commander, correct?
No, that's different. Some sheriff's department, larger metropolitan sheriff's departments have commanders. So the sheriff is the sheriff,
Okay.
because they also has chief bailiff, you know, it's not listed under elected official, if I remember correctly, when I was
It's,
reading through this.
Salary.
Yeah, it was just their salary of it, so. Like the median sheriff is $78,014. That's the median,
How much?
78.
78,000. The 25 percentile, that says, that's 41 counties that they listed. The 25 percentile is $70,655. And then the higher end, the 75% is 95,590. So that is what the sheriff is for the median, or the,
I don't know how helpful those figures are, because it doesn't take into account the size of the county.
right.
Just an over-
They're all responsible for
broad
the almost
overview.
the same thing.
This is the challenge for this committee, right? Like, we're not the finance committee.
Right. County auditor, would that be a treasurer?
No.
No,
That's something different.
What page? is
They
it?
have that, this would be on page 23.
County
Oh, there
treasurer,
it is. Okay.
$67,327.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
$346 for county treasurer. Is the median. County clerk, $67,327. And circuit clerk, $67,067. I don't, we can make a recommendation to finance on what we believe, but I think at the end of the day, it probably just needs to come out of finance of where they can budget it. Would you guys?
I would agree. I would agree on that.
no.
But, you know, we could also give, like you said, our recommendations based on, you know, what we're seeing here. I'm just looking at the sheriff, because that's where I came from, I made more than the sheriff as an officer. I just thought that was wrong.
Like, the sixth highest paid employee in the sheriff's office right now.
Yeah, so it was just wrong for what he was responsible for. I, you know. But that's my opinion.
So if you took it up to like the 90th percentile, so the county treasurer is $80,090. County clerk, $81,130. Circuit clerk, $80,389. And the sheriff, $95,590.
And if you compare, granted, Ogle County and Whiteside County are smaller than us, but they're still set pretty close to us in that particular area. Still do the same things. So that goes with.
Huge percentage.
Increase.
Increase.
And what's the reason for that? I don't see any reason for it. We have no problem attracting highly qualified elected officials. We're strapped financially. And this is going to commit us, whatever you set the first year, it's going to perpetuate year after year. The last set of raises was more like 1.3.
Is that what it came up to?
Each grand.
I figured you did. You did.
Well,
Yeah.
I could argue again for the sheriff. We have a chief deputy that currently that, he probably wouldn't run for sheriff because he would make less money. You've got what's that?
Almost 20,000.
Yeah. And so he would actually, make less money. What's the advantage of someone from within?
That's just.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Just said that question.
It happened because the sheriff is an elected official, and traditionally the salary has always been set by the finance committee. But the I don't know how the chief deputy got up that high.
But
It's a
isn't it
percentage of what he was making on the contract. Yeah,
Right.
the chief deputy's not covered under the FOP contract.
Well, actually, maybe
No.
not.
Right. So
But he
that
would
bumps
be-
him up.
So
Wow.
you attract the only advantage of someone to take that position, somebody from within. You almost need someone like John Simonton, who retired from the state police, to have a retirement income coming in and to do this kind of job. I don't know how. I know I made more money than Sheriff Bibbins at one time back when he was working. Of course, I worked a lot of overtime at that time. He wasn't granted any overtime. I'm not for sure how John Barga did, but John Barga went from corrections officer to bailiff and then the sheriff. He might have made a small increase of that, but I made more than he did with overtime back then. And it was just unfair, I thought. And so it takes someone like now, just recently, the sheriff, said he's not going to run again. And so Clay Whalen, again, is going to be running, my understanding. He's retired from the city police department, so he's going to get a retirement pension from the city police and then receive a sheriff's wage. So that's my take on the sheriff's wages. Now, I don't know how the state, the wages are in the other departments. So I just know from.
I let's wait until negotiations gets done. We don't want to put elected officials on a pedestal and give them, let's just say we give them, just throwing out a number, 3% raise and we give employees a 2% raise, right? Like that's gonna, I think that clouds the water. Do you agree to some level there? And we have time to do this. We don't have to do this.
No,
until
I
May
agree.
For this section.
Because this one, you know, according to this one, it just got bumped up December 1st of 2021. So
Yeah, there's incremental.
So I'll, you guys okay with tabling this for,
We have to know all the
Until-
information.
until we get through all the negotiations?
Have to do this in April, you have to do it under the 80 days.
Correct. So we're 4 months ahead of time.
Not done by then.
Yeah. So it'll stay on the agenda, but we can at least table it. It's always helpful. So can I entertain a motion to table this?
I'll move.
Nancy, Jim, all those in favor?
I,
Okay, moving on to county board members. And this one we have a little bit more sense of urgency on, I believe, but everybody, UCCI is in here as well. I like using their information. County board members on average make a $60 per diem. We currently are at $60. The chairman of the board, they average $1,800. No, that's committee chairman, sorry. $7,600 is the medium. And the vice chair is $1,380. Those are the ones I think we need to address. I personally don't believe if we raise the pay of county board members, that it's going to necessarily increase the quality of county board members, right? And I don't think anybody here is doing it for the money. It's nice to get a little bit.
it might attract a younger group out there that are, but they would still have to take a day off or depending on where they're working.
And you're still gonna have to find people who are in my shoes that have a flexible job, right? That can do it. I know that with the reduction in county board members from 24 down to 20, we could justify paying county board members $72 and it would be a flat number. I believe I believe the committee chairman, you guys know how much time and energy I put into this, that I think you could spend money there, but I hate clouding the water. I know Ogle County did that.
Yeah.
Yep, so they said it, that committee chairs get $100 for that specific meeting. Vice chair gets, I believe, 75 and
Regular.
I personally do not like that, just for the simple fact of it's complex for the treasurer's office. I think you're trying to like pay all the county board members the same thing, in my opinion.
Well, I guess it depends. It could be if you have one position where you're the chairman at one point and then you're on another committee, but you're not the chairman, then we're gonna have to build you with 2 or 3 different rates in the system.
That's exactly it, especially it'd be an administrative nightmare, in my opinion. So I don't like that idea, but I open it up to you guys if you guys are okay keeping it all one flat rate.
I'm fine with that.
I don't think most people are here for the money.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time voting a raise for myself. So
Exactly.
just, sorry, I just can't do that.
Currently, the chairman of the board makes $6,000 extra, so he gets per diem plus $6,000. And you guys
Ogle
saw what
County.
Ogle County chairman makes. Now, he does not get paid any per diem, so I'm a big believer in per diem. So instead of $25,000 flat, currently at 6,000, that's 500 a month. I thought a number of like 7,800, which is right in line with what UCCI's findings were, would take an additional pay of $650 per month. So take it from 500 to 650 for the chairman. And UCCI also has $1,380 for the vice chair. John and I had a conversation a little bit before this, and I think there's some stuff that the vice chair should be doing and can be doing that I like the idea of paying the vice chair a little bit of something, $1,200 a year. It's $100 a month, but John, it pretty well allows you to do one, feels like you're getting one day back, right?
What's that?
If at $100 a month, it feels like as a vice chair, you'd be getting one day back of pay.
Yeah, but you could do per diems and so on. I don't know if it's needed at this point. You help out, but you don't put in a lot of time.
Our vice chair currently gets nothing.
Get nothing right now. For vice chair. You get your per diems, you get your meetings, you get an extra meeting a month to be an executive, not executive, whether you're chairman or not. Like right now, I'm chairman of properties, but you also have a place on the executive committee, but that's negated. You just have to be holding two positions on executive.
I'm not in favor of raises. The
I'd like to see it stay with force.
citizens of the county are under stress times, it's gonna get worse. And I think it's just a bad idea for the county board to be increasing the cost of the county. There's no reason for it. Again, at the current levels, you're highly qualified chairman and vice chairman. Money is not gonna attract people we aren't getting already. And as far as the general board, nobody's in it for the money.
Yeah.
60, 70, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But the public perception would be a huge one.
Yeah.
Any raise, it's gonna be huge. So I'm against any raise.
I think anybody, myself per se, and everybody's probably heard me say it, but I know when I pull out of the parking lot of my business in Franklin Grove, I know I'm not gonna make money. Because I gotta come. Simple as that. You don't do it. $10 one way or the other. And the only one I could honestly see is past experience. If you have a chairman that really puts in a lot of time and does the legwork, maybe the extra money might. But there again, you aren't going to attract a chairman to run simply because you can make extra.
$150 a month, right?
I agree, Jim. I think it's.
If public, if
Public
If
perception.
anything, it's just the appreciation for what he does. That's about all before, as a board member, that's a board member, I would just say, I appreciate what John, Bob, and Jim did in the past that I had dealt with in the past. I appreciate all the extra stuff that they did. That would be the only thing as a board member would want to do, but I have to kind of agree with Jim too. It's just public perception or employee perception too.
perfect.
Yeah. The people that are gonna do things are gonna float to the top, whether they get like $10.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the public image and all that. Sit back here and vote a raise for ourselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out
Better to
there
spend
that
the money for
suffer.
the county.
So,
Perfect.
no, we don't need that.
Once again, I'm not bringing it up for one way or the other. I had this conversation just for the simple fact, Old County just did it. And it is a very hard situation. And to your guys' point, we're in a sticky position no matter what you do, right? And it'd be different if we were talking about raising per diems from $60 to maybe $150. You might attract different people, but at that same point, are you just attracting the people who are here for the money and not for the right reasons? So,
That's it right
That's the
there.
other problem.
and so I am perfectly fine. Do we have to do anything if we're not going to change anything?
I believe you probably should still pass a resolution, but how about if I check into that?
That'd be great. So we'll table this. I'll entertain a motion to table it. Jack, Bill?
So,
Charlie, are you saying that you should, I saw your head.
Okay. We'll go. Nancy, Jack, or whoever.
I move.
All those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll circle back around that next month. Yeah, Yep, so we'll circle back to whether or not we're probably gonna have to have a resolution.
Yep, and
but
I'll,
we'll
I'll
have
just
that in
bring a
place
draft resolution
what I-
back next month.
For what our conversation was. Resolution for establishing the claims committee. We went through that. Does everybody understand it? The purpose of the claims committee?
Yes.
Pretty excited about it. Well, I think we're gonna be looking at you to be serving on it, so. Yes, so the calendar it's actually in here, so. Yep, so right behind it, starting in January, it'd be the 5th and the 19th. So
Generally speaking, guys, just to give you an overview, what we're looking at for twice a month is the Wednesday preceding your committee week and the Wednesday of your full county board meeting. So about 2 weeks apart. That's what we're looking at for claims committee dates. Twice a month on Wednesdays.
correct.
Correct. And by doing it the Wednesday preceding your committee week and the Wednesday of county board week, we're splitting that off 2 weeks essentially. Sometimes the next gap will be a 3-week gap before the Wednesday preceding committee week the following month, but sometimes it'll be a 2-week gap. That was the best we could do to kind of separate it. And again, our goal here is to, by paying the claims more efficiently, number one, but also getting them paid twice a month, we're going to hopefully get these paid, reduce the number of claims paid in vacation is what I was trying to spit out. And that's our goal, is to pay twice a month, reduce claims paid in vacation, and get these things out the door in a quicker, more efficient manner from the staff perspective.
So this would take claims out of every meeting, out of each committee. All right. You're gonna try to basically set somebody on the committee from each of the committees so that they can report back to their committee on claims?
No, but the good news is each committee, including this one and Dave for yours and properties, each committee, so that Wednesday preceding the committee week, the claims committee will approve all the claims. And they will, at that point, then the software system, treasurer's office, will be generating a report for your committee properties or your committee admin. And so you will see a report that'll actually probably give you more information on it than what you see right now on paper. So you will still have and be able to ratify those claims that have moved through the claims committee. And then the full board will get a complete, the entire preceding month of claim report for you to review, approve, and review and ratify.
On their new tablet.
Correct.
On your new tablet. Exactly, Dave.
Out so much stuff.
Absolutely. I'm
So
glad
the
you're on board with me on
Department
that.
heads will approve their own claims less than $1,000. So you will be able to, department head, if Paul turns into something into Paula and it's less than $1,000, she will be able to approve. It will go right to her. $1,000 to 2,500 will go to Wendy to be approved. So it'll go through the department head and then through Wendy. Up to 2,500, anything 2,500 to was it 10,000
All the way up the rest of the way, then 2,500 on up goes to the claims committee.
goes up to the claims committee. Anything greater than 30,000 is a bid process. So that will be a full county board decision.
So just as an FYI, you're not seeing that specific language in this resolution because as Paul and I have been talking through the logistics of the software itself and then the internal processes of staff, we decided that those would be better served by being policies, not part of the resolution. What you're doing by this resolution is to essentially hand over to the claims committee the authority to develop those internal policies and practices and to pay the claims on behalf of the county board. The policies, we're going to utilize those claims committee members in the first couple of months to kind of talk through all of this and produce policies as to how we're going to do this. So just as an FYI, you're not seeing those thresholds that Chris just referred to in the resolution because we're going to be developing those as part of the policies.
Okay, so like smaller purchases, they only go, the claims committee won't even see these. These will be on, I mean, I'm looking at, what do they call it? You know, more than one eye should look at anything.
So Dave, the good news is that what we're talking about right now, and again, we need to delve into the software program and the reporting and all of that. But our thought is that while we may pay them if it's less than $1,000, in other words, the check may be cut and they'll go out the door, but that the claims committee and your individual committees will still see those expenditures on that list.
Don't have to prove, okay, I just, just for, so that more eyes are looking at that. so we don't get
Absolutely.
Into a person, okay,
Absolutely. And even the final board report then will include all claims on that report. Won't matter which direction they went or under whose authority the check got cut.
So the ideal thing is that you're gonna be able to see all those Friday before, like this meeting. So I'm sitting around all Saturday, I can actually start looking at the claims rather than, let's be honest, what we do right now, right? It will be a much better process of being able to see what you're doing before you actually do it, correct?
okay, so at our convenience, we can look, if somebody, who's ever on that committee can
You know what,
do some of this before they,
you can go back 4 months.
oh, very good.
You see
Because
something
again,
that comes across that's quarterly, you can go back to the last quarter, because it'll be right there on your board book and be like, oh, okay, oh, makes sense.
I think it's a good project,
Yeah,
very good.
there is going to be some headaches, to say the least, some growing pains, but it will get to where it's going to be a very beneficial and smooth process. So I will entertain a motion to move the resolution for establishing a claims committee to executive. Mr. Palin, Ms. Naylor, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Revised meeting dates, as you guys see it, added the claims and the budget meetings. I'll entertain a motion to move that to executive. Ms.
Second.
Naylor, Mr.
Second.
Strugstead, any further discussion? All pretty standard right there. All those. Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We talked about the IAAS. This will be fantastic for our IT department, get us up to speed, our service system. It blows my mind. So we talked about that. Employee Spotlight Program. This is kind of what I'm excited about. So we had a discussion, a special executive meeting. This kind of stems from Wendy's update at the county board meeting with Jennifer. Thank you. Lori. In
I'm sorry, that's
regard
right,
to
Lori,
the
that's right.
wellness, everybody kind of, so went to the local establishment afterwards. I'm like, why don't we have an employee of the month program? And so we talked about it at department heads, we talked about it at executive. This is going to be a quarterly spotlight. So doesn't put pressure on the county or the department heads, but you as a county board member can elect or nominate somebody. There will be a form for you to fill out. This committee has been tasked with selecting said employee spotlight of the month.
Of the quarter.
Or of the quarter. There is going to be a gift for this person. We can do every quarter. We can really do up to 3 if we really want to. And that's kind of an update on that. Nope, department heads, employees can nominate department heads. Outside average Joe citizen has a great experience with the deputy on the road. They can nominate them. And this isn't for doing their job. This is for going above and beyond, correct? So I'm pretty excited about this. Rick, you got something? You just unmuting yourself.
No, I just must accidentally unmuted.
I'm just glad to hear your voice.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, from experience, this, in time, the same people keep winning it or so, and it gets demeaning to some of the, there's some people hold a grievance against the whole process. Are you talking just one county board member through our whole county, and then where are you gonna park them? It does add an extra level to your administration, and sometimes it looks like from a worker's perspective, looks like a buddy system.
So it's not going to be like, I'm not going to nominate you, right? I'm going to nominate deputy whoever because he helped me change a tire on the side of the road, when I was in need. Those are the things. Paul goes above and beyond for something in her office, writes something up and expresses it. This is going to be changing. Like right now, we talked about a lot of different ideas in executive. We're going to try to keep it with a gift to the employee, but if it does create that resentment, we also talked about just doing a lunch for the entire department. So if one person goes above and beyond in Nancy's department, well, we can come in and buy lunch for the entire department. So it encourages teamwork and people doing something like that. But right now, that's what we're looking at is incentivizing the person. But it was discussed of incentivizing the entire department staff. So but this committee will be tasked with selecting the winners, is what I was told. So what's that? Remember? La, 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 la.
Yeah, now it has a benefit, is it?
It's, we'll talk later about that. So that is that information.
I think that administration committee will be tasked with selecting the winners, but also will be tasked with, and I'll be coming back to you for feedback on what's working and what's not. And if we need to modify this, absolutely, we'll do it.
Gotta start somewhere. I think we'll try it, and if it fails in a year, it fails in a year. But I think your point, if we're not going to take a pay raise and we can give back to employees, this is something. So, executive session, Charlie. You good? I don't need one. Motion to adjourn. Jack, Nancy, all those in favor.
Aye.
See you next week.